Hi, everyone. So, this week we are looking at season 1, episode 2 of Breaking Bad. And we're going to go over 10 idioms and phrasal verbs from this episode. And then we'll use them this Thursday in our conversation class. All right, so the first one is that goes double for me. So, that goes double for me is a way of saying, I feel the same way you do, or my feelings exactly. But even more, right? Like double, twice as much as you, maybe more. So maybe if a friend and I are taking the same class in school, and we have an exam coming up on Monday, and my friend tells me, oh man, I really have to study for that exam. And I say, that goes double for me. That means I do too, and maybe even more than you. So maybe I haven't even opened my book yet, or maybe I'm doing worse than you are in the class. So I agree with you, and even more so. Or maybe there's some annoying construction noise. And someone says, if they don't stop that noise, I'm going to go crazy. I could say, oh, that goes double for me. So maybe I'm just the kind of person who goes extra crazy when I get upset. Or maybe the construction is closer to my house, so I feel like it's true and even more so for me. So my feelings are the same as yours and maybe even stronger. All right, our next phrasal verb. This one is a phrasal verb. It is freak out. So freak out is one of those informal but very common, very versatile phrasal verbs that has many different meanings within the same scope. All right, so if you freak out, it means that you become angry, or that you become upset, or that you become scared, or that you become nervous or anxious. Or if you say, that's freaking me out, or you're freaking me out, you could be saying, this situation is kind of weird. Like, you're behaving in a strange way that makes me feel uncomfortable or weird about it. So, very versatile, all kinds of different uses for freak out. I could give you a million examples to cover all of them. A few that come to mind could be spiders freak me out, okay? Or I'm freaked out when I see spiders. They scare me. Or maybe he just got a new job on top of the job that he already has. So now he's got two jobs and he's freaking out because he can't handle all the work. So that would be like the stress kind of meaning of freak out. Or my mom. My mom freaks out all the time over little things. So she's very dramatic and she has a very strong reaction and often sounds like something is very upsetting or crazy for her. So if I tell her, oh, one of my coworkers quit yesterday, my mom would be like, what? Your coworker quit? And I'd be like, Mom, why are you freaking out about it? Or another use to freak out, maybe if my vegetarian friend comes into the room eating a big chicken leg, I'd be like, why are you eating chicken? You're kind of freaking me out. You're a vegetarian, you don't eat meat. What is happening here? So that would be the I feel weird kind of meaning of freak out. You're freaking me out. All right, so lots of uses for freak out. Our next expression is to have loose ends or to tie up loose ends. And sometimes we just abbreviate this expression to I've still got some loose ends or I'm dealing with loose ends. So if you reference loose ends, then people know that you're referring to the idiom to tie up loose ends. We usually use this in more formal situations because we're talking about finishing the final small details involved in a project or a plan, which is a more formal thing. So, for example, if I'm working with a team on a project and I tell them, I'm pretty much finished, I just have a few loose ends to tie up. So that means maybe I have to do the final edit of something I'm writing, or maybe I have to phone one person to confirm something. So it's like saying, I'm 98% finished. I'm almost there. I just have to tie up some loose ends. The other meaning, the informal meaning of tie up loose ends, if you ever watch mafia movies or movies involving gangsters or criminals, if you say that you've got some loose ends to tie up, you mean that you need to kill some people in order for your plan or job to be finished or complete. So if you are a gangster and let's say you rob a bank and someone saw your face, after you've robbed the bank and you leave the scene of the crime, you might tell your friends, I've got some loose ends to tie up, which means you have to go back and kill that person in order to feel that you're safe, you can relax, and the job is done. Things are complete. There are no loose ends. So yeah, useful for any mafia movies or crime series. If they reference loose ends, they're just talking about killing someone. All right, our next expression is, well, it's not an expression, it's a thing. It's just a noun. It's an RV. So an RV is a recreational vehicle, which I actually wasn't even sure what RV stood for 100% because we always say an RV. So an RV, or recreational vehicle, is basically just a big van, but more. So it's a big van that you can also live in for a short period of time while you're traveling or camping. So this vehicle has a small kitchen and a little table for you to eat at, and a sleeping area with a bed. Yeah, so RVs, people travel in them. There are special campsites for people to stay and camp in their RVs. And in Canada and the United States, we usually associate RVs with elderly, retired people who finish their jobs and they decide to make the big purchase of an RV and go on an adventure traveling around in their RV. Another association with RVs is they all have this name painted on the side of them, similar to a boat. And the name is always something kind of cheesy like the Explorer or the Adventurer. Yeah, the Outback, that kind of stuff. So, yes, RVs. I do know about a game that you can play with RV names, but I can't talk about that here. I will tell you in Assembly Hall this Thursday. Ask me about it if I forget. The secret RV game. All right, our next expression is to bide your time. So if you're biding your time, you are waiting patiently or quietly for the right opportunity to do something that will complete your plan or make your plan happen or make it possible. So I don't know, I guess if you want to rob a bank, I'm going back to robbing banks. You don't just run in and rob the bank. If you want to be successful, you would probably bide your time. You would go in innocently and just look at the bank and get information about it, and make a full plan and maybe wait for one specific day that would be the best day to rob the bank. So while you're waiting, you're biding your time. Or maybe guys, if you want to talk to a girl at the bar, you probably don't just walk straight up first thing in the evening and say, "Hi, I like you. Can I have your phone number?" You probably bide your time, watch how she behaves, have a few drinks, then maybe approach her, make some casual conversation, and then probably you will go away and then maybe dance with her and then come back again later in the evening. And when the moment is right, then you will say something more forward like, "Can I have your phone number?" or "We should have coffee sometime." So all during the evening, you've been biding your time, waiting for the right moment to start your plan. All right. So biding your time. All right. The next one is the expression "that's messed up." So when you look at a situation and you say "that's messed up," you're saying that that event or that situation is morally terrible. So something that you find to be morally really wrong or really bad. Or it could be something that you think is just unfair, not right, not just. So if you hear in the news that a small child has brought a gun to school, you might say, oh, that's messed up. Like that's so wrong. I can't believe that happens. Or maybe if you hear that, um, I don't know, maybe there was a company that was selling houses to people, selling real estate, and they took everyone's money and there were no houses. It's some kind of a scam where people lost a lot of money. You might say, oh, that's messed up, like that's just not fair or not right. Yeah, so just an informal, casual way of saying that that situation is not right or morally something really wrong. All right, our next expression is I'm working up to it. So if you're working up to something, uh, it could be that it's just something that you're really scared of or intimidated by, and you can't just start doing that thing. You have to slowly take small steps before you actually do it. So let me think. Well, okay. I mean, I'm from Canada, and even though the ocean is a little warmer in the summer, it's usually still really cold. So personally, I don't just run into the water straight up first thing. It's too cold for me to do that. So instead, I work up to it. So I just walk in, get my feet wet. I'm like, oh, this is cold. And then I get out. And then maybe I walk in again up to my knees. And then I get out again. And then maybe I wait 10 minutes. And then I go in further into the water. So I'm working up to getting all the way into the water. I'm working up to swimming in that cold water. Um, so that in that case, it's something that I'm like intimidated by. But it could also be like a part of your plan for how you want your process to unfold, how you want your process to work. So if you ever see a performance in the circus, whenever the performer is doing his act, he doesn't start out with the most impressive, most amazing tricks at the beginning. So he works up to it. He starts off by doing some things that maybe you wouldn't be able to do, but they're not so amazing or so difficult, right? And then he slowly, goes farther, goes higher, jumps, bigger jumps, whatever the performance is about. And then he works up to, the grand finale or the most exciting part of the show. All right, so our next one is, yeah, you've probably heard of this expression. Somebody might tell you, make yourself at home. So you would hear this if you are visiting someone and you are in their home and they want you to feel welcome and feel comfortable there. They will say to you, make yourself at home. So that's just a way of saying, welcome to my home. And, I hope that you can feel comfortable and relaxed and feel as if it is your own home, make yourself at home. But I thought it was worth bringing up because in this episode of Breaking Bad, it's actually used sarcastically, right? So you could use it sarcastically if someone comes to your house for the first time and they just walk to your refrigerator and make themselves a sandwich and sit on your sofa and put their feet on your coffee table and you feel a little shocked or a little taken aback, then you might say, make yourself at home, like, okay, this is a little strange, but continue, carry on. So this is the meaning of the expression in this episode, sarcastic. All right, phrasal verb for us now, end up. So end up could be used in formal or informal situations. It's very commonly used. It's kind of hard to explain because it just means it comes at the point where you're trying to tell someone the conclusion or the ending of the story. So it doesn't have to be literally a story. It could just be they're telling you about what they did on the weekend. So maybe they are telling you about what they did, and they say, first we went to the movies, but the movie we wanted to see was sold out, so we ended up just going home and watching TV. Yeah, like in the end, or the final result was this. What? And, I might ask a question, right? So what did you end up doing? So if there's an unresolved situation and I want to know what the outcome was, what happened, I might say, so what did you guys end up doing, or what did you end up deciding? Yeah, so really versatile, functions in pretty much any situation. All right. And the last expression, who wears the pants in the family? So this is one of those kind of culturally, historically loaded expressions. Obviously, asking someone who wears the pants in the family is coming from a patriarchal background. So a culture or society where traditionally men have the power in the home. So men make the decisions, men make the money, and men are the boss of the household. So in those societies, you would say the man wears the pants because traditionally men wear pants and women wear dresses or skirts. So that's where that comes from. So if you're asking who wears the pants in the family, what you're really saying is who is the boss or who has the power. But what you're also saying is who has the man's role or the man's position, which is assuming that the man should have the power. So I would never use this expression because I don't see things from that perspective. But you will still hear this expression. So if you hear someone say, she wears the pants in the family, they're saying the wife is in charge, or the wife is the boss of the household and of the lives of the man and woman in the family. So you understand what they're saying, and you also get an idea about their perspective on the world. So where they're coming from is that the man should have the position of power, or that that's normal, and that if the woman does, it's something unusual. All right, so I hope you guys got a lot out of these expressions tonight. Any questions, keep them in mind for class this Thursday. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe for updates. And I don't know, what else can I tell you? I will see you guys on Thursday. Have a good week.